Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well and have a blessed day or night, depends wherever you are. My name is Mike, and I'm here yet with another episode of the spiritual testimonies, this light sharing sessions, I call them. People who just come forward to share not only their near death experience or out of body experience, but really anything spiritual. We all have a variety of ways for our own personal spiritual awakening, and I really wanted to have a different format when me as an experiencer, somebody who went through the spiritual transformation, felt like it's time for me to really take it forward. As some of you know, I just do a lot of self-made videos, and now I wanted to really collect a lot of special people who just either resonate with my story or happen to bump into my story, which of course you all know by now that I don't agree to these theories, because everything happens because it's supposed to happen, and it's part of the synchronicities. So today I'm with Peta, and Peta is here to share her story, which I'm excited about because I don't know it. All I can tell you is that I feel her energies, and I feel that she's an old soul, and I feel that she's going to be very genuine with us as far as what she feels, not even the details of the story, because I told her in the pre-recording that I want her to feel her most self. Her most self simply meaning connected to your soul. When you connect to your soul, you just be yourself. You don't have any filters, any blocks, or any conditions. If you remember last night's session, I said do everything unconditionally. When you do everything unconditionally, you're following your soul fully, 100%. So I told her to do that, or to try to do that, with her story. And then, of course, we're going to take it from there and have a wonderful conversation until its divine timing is due and the message is passed. And I hope you're all going to be inspired. So, Vita, again, thank you so much for joining me. And maybe, before we start, you can just talk a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and all that.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm from WA, Western Australia. I'm about 40 minutes or so south of the city. Um, I've been, I've done so much and been so many places, and I've always had a curiosity, and I've never quite fit in anywhere. Um, I've run into people sort of later on in life, and they said, "Oh, you always sort of danced around to the beat of your own drum. You're a bit eccentric." Um, Whereas before I was lonely, now I never am. I'm so happy where I am. I'm as authentic as I can possibly be. Um, I tend to upset people because I speak before I engage my brain. That upsets the sleeping, we'll call them, because there's still lots of people asleep. Um, so yes, that's me. That's me in a nutshell. I'm a bit quirky. I'm a bit odd. I'm an artist. Um, People get sent to me, and I help them where I can. Some stay, some don't.
Wow, let me ask you a question. You know what? When you describe yourself so vividly, you really tapped into an interesting element, because a lot of people who talk to me who are what we call old souls, quote unquote, or souls that have been here so many times, so they just carry them a lot of that wisdom, a lot of, and they feel isolated. They feel at first they feel alone. They feel odd. They don't get along with everybody. And if we look at it from this perspective, from just the body perspective, we can be like, okay, maybe something's wrong with them automatically. But again, we have to look at things way deeper. Some souls, there's some people that I know, like they don't even want to live here, and they don't, and it's not from depression or suicidal thoughts. They just sense as they just, okay, I've done my part. Okay, I know what's waiting on me, and I want it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Oh
reason.
yeah.
People
Oh
are
yeah.
scared to move forward. We're living in a society when you're going to step forward and say, "Hey, I don't want to live anymore," then they're going to put you in a hospital, because you're
Funny.
supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be spiritually content. However, science and nobody else don't know what spiritually content is, because it's individually different, and everybody can be spiritually content Of course we have to promote life and not take our, I'm not saying people should. However, when people feel don't belong, it doesn't always have to be associated with psychiatric problems or with anything, with any negativity. They just feel themselves. When you feel like you are a soul, it's like you take a high schooler and put it in a park, in a playground where only 5-year-old are playing. Okay, so you can admire it, you can sit there, but like, I can't play there. I need something bigger. I need
Yeah.
something deeper. I need something more expand. So that's exactly the qualities that you describe about yourself. It fits perfectly with the soul that has a bigger purpose, with an older soul, with a soul that has reincarnated many times over.
Yeah, when I was a child, I would get this feeling. I would feel odd when people were talking about death, or I'd go to my mum and say, you know, such and such is going to die, and I feel scared. And she would say, push it away, just ignore it, push it away, push it away. So I learned to push it away, but I got that feeling whenever we were talking, and I distinctly remember her coming outside one day. I was talking with friends, and I was begging them, please don't talk about this, don't talk about this, because I had no guidance. I thought the feeling meant that it was my fault that that person was going to die. And my mum said, if she says to stop talking about it, you need to stop talking about it. But it wasn't until, decades later that it wasn't anything to be feared. It was just, hey, heads up, your friend is going to pass soon. Just prepare yourself, kind of thing. Because I found it very confusing. I went to a Catholic school, but I wanted to look into Buddhism and all these other different religions, and I tried out a few, but they don't all have it. They have like itty bits and pieces is true, but so much of it is
And I'll tell you why.
wrong.
I'll tell you why. If a lot of if people usually in this world want to work out and build muscles, so they'll go to outside gyms. One will go to the weight room, one will go to the yoga studio, one will go to the Pilates. Anybody with their preferences of what to do in order to work out, they can get social. And that's why people really work out outside is to get into the atmosphere and get social to develop muscles. And then some people work at home. And those who work out at home usually are the get demotivated the fastest, and they just want to quit because there's no one to push them. Well, spiritually speaking, because what is religion or anything else? It's just not a way to tap into yourself. There's so many of them. Some people want to connect to their soul. They have to give up something physical. They have to go and be part of that realm of that consciousness to know that there's something beyond. And most religions offer that. And some people are born into religion. They don't really have another choice. Most people are just born to their religion. But if I tell people that now, spiritually speaking, you want to work out at home.
Yeah.
Because outside you'll have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but when you work out at home, there's nothing better for your soul.
Yeah.
Because it's an individual journey. The
Yeah.
collective can motivate us. The collective in religion can be almost our crowd. But it's our show, and a lot of people forget that. If they go too much with they'll go too much with the collective, too much with religion, and then in a way they tend to forget to answer some questions that they're really deep questions that we have about our essence. But when you connect to your soul, a lot of people ask me, like, do I have to have a near-death experience? Absolutely not. If you did, that means you were supposed to wake up because that was your soul contract, and you decided to not wake up because of your free choices. So somebody woke you up. Somebody shook your world. It was supposed to come like that. So usually when people go through a lot of challenges, they don't understand why the wake up can be, it can be avoided. The soul journey can be, even though I tell people you can't really control it, you just react to it. But with the right mindset, your soul journey can be so much easier for you. Things can clear up without a tragedy. But I really wanted to take you to to first how you got to know me, and then I want you to tell me a little bit about your actual experience. Tell us, of course, the viewers, because I'm really interested to hear that
So,
you're feeling it special.
um, so a lot of turmoil, a lot of strife, um, and I'm technologically inept, but I figured out how to work YouTube. Um, so I was finding guided meditations to do because I'm I'm searching for something now. And then I saw you in the I've forgotten the name of it now. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Well, most
You were
people
telling your story.
say next level soul. Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes,
Heard
yes.
you.
Next level. Yes. So you were telling your story, and it was like 2 in the morning when I was watching it. And just as you were speaking, I was like, I know him. I know that story. I need to talk to this man. Someone I can talk to. Like, just it can be so isolating. I'm not lonely, but every occasionally I'd like to have someone to talk to and go, "Hey, do you get this? Or has this happened to you? Do you see people and know that, they're going to fall over soon," kind of thing, or spirits tapping them saying, "Hey, wake up. Hey, wake up." Um so yeah, I'm and I don't really send messages to anybody. I have like 20 people on my Facebook page. Everything is locked down. I don't share, I don't add friends. And your story, it was just like, I know this person. I know what this guy's going through. I've got to talk to him. So I sent you a message. And I think in the message it said, "Hi, how you going? I heard your story. If you feel the need to get back to me, you will. If you don't, you won't. It's all, what will be, will be." And you did.
Well, if thank you so much for saying for sharing with us the story behind it. And I must tell you and everybody else, my mailbox is solely for the people who are supposed to message me. And I must tell you, I not that there's something special about me more than it's something special about the other person, because I'm just a character. So okay, if you play a video game, then you get to a level in a video game, and then you meet a character that you're supposed to meet, or in a movie. In that scene, you're supposed to meet a character that's going to just tell you go left or right or straight. That doesn't really teach you anything. And going back to what you said you felt lonely and didn't know who to talk to about, as it happened to you before, like about this phenomenon. But I would change the terminology. I would get rid of lonely and instead saying, well, it wasn't time yet. Because the spiritual time is ticking like the slowest heartbeat of when some events and some characters that are meant to be in your life. Because I tell a lot of people that we have two journeys. We have the body journey, or day-to-day life, if you would, that is solely controlled by us and manipulated by us. I can decide to eat 5 kilos of ice cream tonight and I can afford it. I will eat kilos of ice cream tonight because I wanted to. I can decide to be a successful doctor from young age. I'll make the decision. I'll take the actions. Or vice versa. I can decide to be a no good and steal for a living. And some people do that and do horrible things to people because I don't want to work for my money. I want to steal money. And people do that. It's all a matter of choices and actions that we take. So we are in control. In that journey, we think that we are the masters. We realize there's ego. We don't realize other people have to go through their life journeys too. So there's a lot of clashes. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of stuff that basically the soul is not aware of. The soul does not know drama. People think that drama is a matter of the soul. No, the soul wants you to keep that away from it because the soul wants to direct you on where you need to go on your own journey. So back to the other journey, not the journey of the life, the journey of the soul. All the events that are happening to you, whether you're successful, whether you're being challenged, whether you're being trial tested, This time, your actions and choices have nothing to do with it. It just happens. Some people can fall ill. Some people can hear amazing news. Some people can meet the love of their life. Some people can get a great job. Some people can feel like, well, I don't deserve it, but it happened to me. Some people say anything that you know that you really just had to sit aside and watch happening and unfolding in your life. That's the journey you have to listen to. That's the only journey you have to live by, because the other journey's role is to really confuse you. It gave you a body, it gave you earthly pleasures, and it said, hey, follow me, or you can follow your soul. And in your soul, like I said, there's no drama. Even if people hurt us or attempt to, it's baloney, because they can only attempt to hurt us. Whether we get hurt or not, it's our choice now. They made theirs. And nothing can really hurt us. And if you know that your soul lives forever, then there's nothing to be even worried about or scared about. When people pass, I just say, oh, congratulations, man. You know what I'm saying? Not to the person who lost it, but I know there's a pain, but to that soul that crossed, I say, congratulations. You're going back to being your purest form. You won't have any more question marks. You won't have any more loneliness. You won't have any more suffering. You won't have any more bills. You won't have any more tears. You won't have any more disappointment. All the difficulties that we take with us when we take this physical body are gone. So people who pass, I'm not saying we should celebrate it, but we should be giving the body just a few days of what it needs to mourn, and we should just know that they are, like we said, in a better place. When we say it about loved ones that we lose, we never say they're in a bad place. Why do we always automatically say, even people that passed away from our lives that we don't even that close to, or we don't even know, we can comfort somebody else. We don't even know who passed away. We'll say they're in a better place. Why are we saying this? Because we want to be nice? Because we want to comfort? No, because deep inside, in our intuition, we know they're in a better place. We know where they're at. We
Yeah.
remember. There's some moments in life when we remember. When we tap in our soul, when we have intuition, when the fact that we talk only good things about somebody who passed away, like we always bring up their good qualities. We never say that he had a debt, or he was mean to ladies, or we never. It doesn't matter what the person was. We try to take the good qualities that we do remember and bring and celebrate them, because we talk like souls. The fact that we go to sleep every night knowing that we're going to wake up in the morning, that's also practice faith. We know. We don't just believe. If we just thought that there is a chance we might die every day, well, then there is a chance that we might not wake up. But if we really knew that or thought about that, we would go to bed terrified. Terrified. I mean, if we didn't have the knowledge deep inside that you're going to wake up, that's how you practice faith. You wake up in the morning, you know that you're going to wake up. You go into bed, you're not thinking, I'm not waking up. People make plans ahead of time, a week from today, a month. How do they know? How do they know?
I don't make plans anymore. Not. I just I don't. Well, let me clarify. I make plans for the next day and do something totally different, because I do what I feel like doing now. I had before my experience, I'd had lots of illnesses. It turns out it was something very rare. Once they fixed it, I came good. It was great. I was, super busy. I had 2 small kids, a husband. I was a rear Commodore Juniors at a yacht club that's looking after the little kiddies. I was, it's called Skipper for the Day. I was the person on the beach for disabled or disadvantaged people, and they got to go sailing. So I had meetings. I was working full time. My husband at the time was going to sea. So I was really super, super, super busy. But I also couldn't say no. I was a bit of a wounded healer. I'd done Reiki classes, and I could give Reiki, and so I was spiritual, kind of dipping my toe in there. And then I was at work one day and I said no. I didn't want to do what they wanted me to do. But I was too afraid to sort of, stand up and say, listen, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I did tell someone in the office the day before, I said, look, it's going to be my back that breaks, not yours. This is too heavy. We shouldn't do this. Couldn't sort of say that to the person that I was working with, actually doing the work. And sure enough, did my back, went downhill, had to go through all the doctors and the scans. And I kept saying, I hurt, I'm in pain. I hurt. They gave me medication on medication on I'm surprised I could even speak when I think about how much they had me on at the time. I'm surprised I'm alive. And then I was starting to feel wrong. My throat felt very wrong. We went away. This was in 2010. And we got home, went over to the hospital, and I crashed. I remember I was in a wheelchair, and I said to the nurse who was pushing me, I think I'm going to crash. And I sort of slumped in the wheelchair, and then it's into the they have this like a super emergency room, and all the doctors and nurses come running in, and you've got people sticking pins in you, and one person's counting your breaths, and another person's checking just your heart rate, and you're hooked up to all this stuff, and they fill you full of drugs, and it's a crisis. So that happened, and something I don't know what happened. It was almost like there was a click inside my head, and a nurse was shining a light into my eyes, and it was audible, and I just started screaming. I was just screaming. It was 3 days before I got out of hospital, and I came home with palsy. I couldn't talk, couldn't walk, had to sit in the dark. It was like I was down into the primal emotions, loud noises. I would scream, the phone ringing, bright light. I could talk at a whisper. I could still write. My kids were super quiet. Apparently, I had a very cute giggle at the time. And I couldn't shake this thing. I just couldn't shake it. I went back to hospital. The nurses were trying to force feed me my medication, and I got really mad, and my whole body went bright red. I was so angry with this nurse because I refused, because it was morphine she was trying to make me take, and I didn't want to take it because I've had enough. I don't want to do this anymore. So I went cold turkey on all the medications, which apparently is not great. And that was in the August. Then in the December of that year, I got sick with something, a flu or something. I couldn't swallow anything. I'd been to the hospital 3 times, and they'd sent me home. On Christmas Day, I was sitting down with the kids and my then husband. They were doing their presents, and I was just, now I'm a person that doesn't like hospital. I would do anything to get out of hospital, I don't want to be there. I don't like the place. I walk out I hate the place. And I just looked at my ex-husband and said, can you take me to the hospital now, please? So the kids had to go to my mum's, which is another story. My son is high functioning autistic. So, and I think he was about 8 at the time. and he said some things to my mum that didn't go over well while I was in the hospital. They took me through, I don't remember a lot of what actually happened. My son can tell you that it was Boxing Day, about 1 a.m. Boxing Day, where I came back. Apparently, his dad rang him and said, I don't think mum's going to make it. And for me, I was hooked up, all the machines were over on this side of me, on my left. He was on this side, on my right. And I left. I went somewhere else. He sounded like he was, miles away in this tiny little voice. And the machines sounded so quiet, but the heartbeat machine was really quite slow, and the pulse, the thing that does your oxygen, was screaming. And I was elsewhere. I was with, I don't want to say an angel. I was with a being, a spiritual somebody, and they were huge. They were like, I didn't even come up to their knee.
Angels.
They were like, so everything was very bright. And the love, the feeling of home, it was just so peaceful. And I wanted to stay there. It's like, I'm home. I never want to leave. And I was given the option. I was told that I'd done what I needed to do. I didn't have to stay. And I'd been through hell. I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to have to. I begged every night that I didn't wake up the next day, because I just didn't want to face it. And there it was just so beautiful and lovely, and you can't really explain how magnificent it is unless you've experienced it. It's magnificent. It's awesome. It's awe-inspiring. It's just amazing. And yeah, I was given the option to leave, and then good old ego rears its head, and I got afraid because my children were so young, and I didn't think they'd be okay, and I didn't understand at the time. Everything happens for a reason. It's divine timing. It's their soul journey. You've already made this decision with them. You can leave and they will be okay to go on their journey. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't trust my partner to bring them up the way safely. Because I'm the mum. It was ego, I'm sure of it. So I came back, but it's not who I was that came back. I'm a different aspect of the same soul, if you understand that. It's and then I've told it the wrong way around. Yeah, so I had the palsy from that. So I've told the story the wrong way round. Yeah, so I had that palsy, and then I had the desk thing, and it's kind of like it takes you a long time to catch up. Like, all the things have to line up, because I didn't remember anybody. I have very little to no memories of my children. I didn't know stories from my family. I don't have that, that family connection with them where, oh, that's this person and I love them dearly kind of thing. It was like a reset. I got to learn everything all over again. And I didn't have the old, prejudices and stuff. It was now I can say it was awesome, but then it was really scary. It was scary, scary, scary stuff. And even though I was surrounded by people, I was so, so, so lonely. Now I spend probably 80% of my time alone, physically alone, or with my dog, and I love it. I absolutely love it. If I've got people in my space for more than 3 hours or 4 at the max, I'm exhausted. So that's sort of like a very condensed version of what happened. There was a lot of build up to me getting sick, and then this stepping away from my body kind of thing. I don't know if I died properly, like dead. But I know I wasn't here. So, and everything now is like, 6 o'clock in the morning when the sun's coming up and you're out for a walk, and there's a little bit of, after it's rained and the sun's coming through a dewdrop on a branch, on a leaf, is just amazing. And I spent 12 months every morning at exactly the same time taking a photo in exactly the same place.
Wow.
It's and you can find beautiful moments if you look. They're everywhere all the time.
That means, if I may, and right
Yeah.
away I could resonate, and people know that I tell my story all the time. I could resonate with every word you said about what happened when you crossed over the sensation, the quiet, the beauty, and then coming back totally different. And that different, like I said in the beginning, is not a negative thing. You are more yourself that you've ever been, your true self. You're aligned with your, when this happens, you're aligned with your journey. See, I used to have a huge circle. I was very popular. I was, and people can look it up. I mean, one day maybe I'll do a thing about that. I was a martial arts instructor, a very busy one, successful one with businesses in America. And I had a production company, and I did like huge because I was always attracted to art, and also to help people, disabled people. Like I used to be ambassador for fighting for autism, like always around, but always around people, always busy, like you said, busy, 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 busy. And then at the same time, maneuver between this and drama, and then go back to life. It was so busy and so crowded. But after the awakening has been almost completed, I slowly was having no circle aside from a twin flame. Some people can have their animals, their angelic partner, or the soul partner for what they do. Some people wait and meet in twin flames, some don't, some just need to do the work themselves. But my circle is only that and my children. And even that is, to the best of my ability. But and people wonder, what happened to you? Have we done something wrong? Oh, no, 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 nothing at all. I remember you. I miss you. I think about you. We had a great time, but it's not you, it's me. I'm finally aligned with my journey, with my soul, with what's important. I used to buy myself stuff all the time. I don't want to say materialistic, but I was, I'm keeping up with maintenance, and I don't anymore. I took myself to the bare minimum of existence. Like if I need to exist, it'll be done, and then it'll be forgotten. Other than that, it's all spirituality. Even the way I live my life, the way I consume my thoughts, the way I even enjoy eating, the way I enjoy nature, the way I just translate interpreted things in life only through the spiritual lens. Never again through the ego, through the physical, through anything like that. But what I must tell you, Is that and is that your art piece, by the way, behind you? Is that, did you make that?
Yes, that's one of mine.
You know, our
Oh,
old souls
wrong
are all
way.
beautiful. Wow, that's beautiful. That
Thank
is.
you. Thank
I
you.
like,
Yes.
as you can see, I like the color purple. So what I'm trying to say is that another characteristics of old souls is they're involved in art, either musical art or art, or, you know, and the reason is because when you cross so many centuries of reincarnation, that the only thing that really sticks, the only thing that really stays with us throughout history, if you think about it, that people can relate to is art, is music, because these are the things of the soul. These are things
Yeah.
that you need to connect deep, deep inside of you in order to express yourself, either through painting or through singing or through conducting, anything that has to do with art. So art is has a lot to do with old soul. So if you're artistic and just love, even if you don't practice music or art and you're just attracted to it, you love it. You come, you know, these walking souls most of the time they come from angelic realms. That's why I always tell people. The reason they come from angelic realm is because, you know, and I'm researching right now in other cultures how they walk in is it's, you know, that soul is either a version, a higher version of yourself, or it's a version of yourself that was taught, like your soul goes and gets taught by an ascended master, by a leader, like by an angel, and then you come here just a different person. It's like you're being brainwashed by
Yeah.
their entity, and you brainwash, quote unquote, of course, and you come down here with this knowledge, with this demeanor, with these preferences. But it's not just for us. The fact that we know what's out there is all nice and dandy, but we need to do it with others. We need to share a light. It doesn't mean we should have a close circle of friends. No, I can still look what I'm doing. Okay, technically you're not in my circle, but I share a lot of light with you. We're in the collective. You use what you can to balance your life between the loneliness, and which is not a negative thing. We all got used to think like if we're lonely, it's a negative thing. No, lonely does not mean lonely from not having any company. The loneliness is more, what's meditation? You can't meditate in couples. You have to get in touch with yourself and peace with yourself, disconnect from everything, right? Reach to the deepest spot here and meditate. So when you're lonely, you're meditating, but just living in meditation. Your whole life is meditation. I don't need to find a moment to meditate. I don't need to be under the ego reign most of the day and then find a few minutes a day to meditate, to remember I have a soul. I want to meditate all day and only connect to my ego when it's time to pay bills and eat food and take a shower.
Funny. Uh, my, oh, my ex partner was. This is one for you. Because I grew up in the yacht club. My dad was heavily involved, so was my mum. He was Commodore, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps. Um, and I was walking up the steps through the club, going to the back, and there was this person just sort of over that way, and you know the bells of the I think it's St Paul's Cathedral in England. You know the big bells.
Yeah.
So these bells went off in my head loud enough to make me stagger. And I sort of looked over and went, no, no. And I kept going. 12 months later, we were married. Um, and people looked at us and thought they wanted what we had. And while I was strong, it was fantastic. Plus, he was away at sea a lot. So, he wasn't home. And I could do my stuff, and we just gelled. We had lots in common. But after he got home, things changed. Then I got sick. And then things really changed. I couldn't hold myself up to what he knew fundamentally, what he'd been brought up with. And I think everybody has the potential to be an abuser, and everybody has the potential to be abused, and everybody is the villain in somebody's story. We turned into each other's
But you know
villain.
why? But again, it's also not a negative thing.
Well, no, it wasn't. It was meant. We stayed together for 10 years too
It's
long.
Look, all souls, one of the main roles, and we're getting close to the end of our episode, but I want to say that, and I also want to say a little secret about you to the audience, if that's okay. But at the beginning of this conversation and how you are now, how you're speaking, and how your face changed, and how you are more connected to your soul. That were like in the beginning, it was more things of the body, but that's that's after. But what I'm saying now is that when you look at the purpose of life, it's not just to know your own purpose. Okay, what do I need to do? I need to choose good, do good, and then it's all for my own good. No, that's also in a way egoistic. You got to look at the whole picture. Even the spiritual world have an ecosystem, meaning something needs to happen. Okay, A plus B needs to happen so C can occur. Okay, these are the secrets of creation people always wonder about. And the more consciousness you have to your soul, the more you look at them from bird's eye. You don't look at them from it's negative, it's positive. Who are we to say? Who are we to control somebody else's choices or journey? In this world, in order to test a soul, okay, qualities, choices, behavior, you have to put another soul in front of it. You can't test a soul in the afterlife in its purest form because the soul knows everything. And the soul is everywhere. The soul is full of light, and it's not. You can't fool a soul when it's a soul. You can't say, "Hey, I'm testing you. Choose right, choose wrong." What do you test?
Yeah.
I'm everywhere. I'm invincible. I'm
Yeah.
immortal. What are you testing? What are you testing for? But when you're in the body, you can test. And to test, you can't put a cardboard in front of somebody and say, "Okay, hurt that image from cardboard." What's going to happen? You can't hurt an animal. Animal won't get hurt by you. Animal
Yeah.
doesn't have that. Animals have different souls. They don't have ego. Therefore, they cannot get mad. They follow instinct. They follow their creative creation role. Okay, that they need to do and rules. They follow the rules. So, but us, we have the ability, to choose to manipulate the system in a way. That's what we think. So we need another person to be there on the receiver's end. Yes, in this world, it might be considered abused, but in the afterlife you're going to be royalty because you're able to come into this world and not just be a rich millionaire who's got a happy life, a nice car, and then retirement. No, you're going to be somebody who had been through sickness, illness, abuse, there's drama, because your soul was capable to begin with to face that. That's why your soul signed that soul contract. When people talk about a soul contract, it's just like a regular contract. You want to rent an apartment, for example. You know what you're getting: 3 bedrooms, one this. This is the kitchen. Go do a walk around. Pay for us. You're stuck here a year. You give us the keys when you're done. You come into this body. You take the contract of life. Now it's not a soul contract, meaning this. We say soul contract because it was written, it was signed from before we came into the womb. So it's a soul contract. But the contract is the events that are going to happen in your life. You know deep inside, but then your body acts like it doesn't. Why does it happen to me? What have I done, God? Why do you hate me? Why do I deserve this? Because you deserve this. Nobody asked you whether you want to come into this world or not. It was never your choice. So why do you complain? You got free life. You got free breath. You wake up in the morning. You enjoy nature. You didn't choose. You didn't pay for it. We know now that to give something, you always have to give something in return. Like you showed up. Go with the flow. Understand the things that happen to you and always embrace them and see them from a positive way, from a place of surrender.
Yeah, definitely. I remember a couple of years ago now, just giving up. Just I can't fight anymore. I give up. I quit. And I remember throwing myself on my bed and I was ugly crying, just howling, just sobbing my heart out, and just I can't do this anymore. I give up. I surrender. And lo and behold, once you give up and once you surrender and once you stop fighting it and you start to look at the positives, you start to look at the beauty, you start to take accountability, take responsibility, own your crap and say, okay, I did that. I'm not a blameless person here. I've done my share. But, once that happened, and now I look at it that I have absolutely no right to stand in front of another soul's journey. I can help them. If they come to me and ask me a question, I will answer it from my heart. Every occasionally,
That's
uh,
it. That's you
yeah,
all.
that's all you can do.
You only allow them to. People don't understand it. If you hear me, stay away from people's journey. One of the things that distract you from yours. Okay, if I'm a marathon, if I run marathon with other people, but then I stop running my own race and start turning my back to the finish line, and then help everybody that's running. Hey, motivate them and everything. I'm gonna end up last. I'm
Exactly.
actually gonna end up not even finishing because I was getting completely out of my goal, my purpose to help others. Others are going to learn their way. It's the same journey. We only in each other's way in this world for good things, for good purpose, for good purpose. So I agree with you in that. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I could have spoken for hours, and I'm telling you ahead of time. If I can tell the viewers in the beginning, the pre-recorded, we can say it's your first time doing this thing, right? Like,
I was nervous.
so I think you did great. You shared with us. I could totally myself, and this is what I like about this thing is like to let people know there's a lot of us that really can resonate on that level. Like we don't know each other. We come from completely, I'm sure, different background. But when you talk about the soul, when you talk about where life took you, I mean, it's all the same similarity. We share the same DNA. And I want to wish you well, Peta, and thank you so much for joining. And I would love to speak to you again in the future. This is, like I said, something new I'm doing here. It's not your typical broadcast of near-death experience or walking. It's more of a conversation of spreading insights because the beautiful thing about insights, I see them like, like fragments of light that I just blow out of my palm, out of my mouth. You give people insight, you make them think, and when they think about an insight, they automatically resonated with their own life. They try to match it with something in their life, and then it clicks. And
Yeah.
if it clicks, I know because my soul gets enlightened. It's like a mirror effect, it reflects back. So, what
Yeah,
you
it's
do
as
to
good.
people, whoever's watching, even if two people are watching, and only one person out of the two people watching, some of the stuff you said really spoke to them. You've done shockwaves where it matters in the other realms. So, like I said, thank you so much, Peta. Be blessed. It's been an honor speaking to you. You're a very, very interesting soul. Know who you are and continue to grow and learn and ascend for yourself and for your loved ones and the collective. So, I want to really thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. I really enjoyed myself, and you can feel it through your energy is amazing. It's like being back home,
Oh, thank you
and we
so much.
all want to go home.
Likewise, thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching. This is a live show, however, it's pre recorded. So if you ask questions, I'll try my best to either forward them to Peta or myself. I can answer them later on. If you enjoyed it, you can share this broadcast and help us technically just share light everywhere. So thank you so much.